I want to bring in the ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee, Alabama Congressman Mike Rogers, to get some of his insight on some of today's top stories. Hi, Congressman. Thanks so much for joining me here on One America News.
Glad to be with you.
Let's go ahead and begin with former special counsel Robert Mueller. President Trump is claiming victory over Wednesday's hearing, and many saying that hearing gave Democrats nothing. Mueller, though, did warn lawmakers about further interference by Russia in 2020. And we know Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and other Republicans have blocked efforts to pass the election security bill. Earlier today, counselor to the president Kellyanne Conway said the administration, of course, is concerned with election security. Does Mueller's statement yesterday concern you about the vulnerability of our elections?
No, not at all. In fact, he didn't tell us anything we haven't known for decades. Russia has been pushing disinformation in elections around the world for decades, in this country and much more aggressively in Eastern and Western Europe, but in Asia too. So there was no news about that. What there was no evidence of, and we've had a hearing on this in the House Homeland Security Committee, is there's no evidence of tampering with our election process, our election machines, our election information systems, ballots, anything. And that's what we're keeping our eye on. The fact is, I have no reason to expect that Russia is going to stop with their disinformation efforts around the world. But when you think about what happened in our election process, it was $20 million spent on social media in America. That is not a large sum of money when you're looking at candidates spending $1 billion in our races. But, you know, there was no tampering, and that's what matters.
I do want to switch gears real quick. A federal judge blocked the president's new asylum rules. You, of course, are the highest-ranking Republican on the Homeland Security Committee. Do you think that that ruling hinders CBP agents from being able to carry out their primary duty of securing the southern border?
Now, I'm sorry, there was some interference. What was the first part of that question? I couldn't hear you.
The judge today ruling against the Trump administration's new asylum rules.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. We had two rulings. One was in D.C. by a Trump-appointed judge who said that the litigation could go forward without the injunction. And then you had a Ninth Circuit California judge appointed by Obama that did, in fact, issue the injunction. And it was just awful. I mean, the president's trying his best to use reasonable, prudent adjustments to the way we conduct our affairs at the border. And you know, if in fact somebody is seeking asylum, let's say they're coming from Venezuela or Honduras and they feel endangered staying there. If they come in through Mexico, all he was saying is you have to try to get asylum there first because you've already gotten away from the danger. Mexico has offered any of these migrants that are coming from Central and South America asylum in Mexico. So if it's really fear for their safety, there is no more fear once they're in Mexico and they're offered asylum. So there's no reason for them to be granted asylum in our country. So I thought it was a reasonable proposal by the president. I think that it's going to ultimately succeed in court, but this injunction is going to be a problem between now and the time the case is resolved.
Does this case end up going all the way to the Supreme Court? Is this important enough for President Trump to address all the way to the highest court in the nation?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because the problem is that Congress, because it is divided right now, and the Democrats just have Trump derangement syndrome. Anything he's for, they're against. There's not going to be, unfortunately, I don't believe legislation that's going to be successful that's going to deal with these flaws and loopholes that we have in our election laws that are the magnet drawing these migrants to our country. And what he was doing administratively was, I thought, a good, reasonable step on his part. It's unfortunate that a liberal Democrat-appointed judge has enjoined it.
All right, Congressman Mike Rogers there, the ranking member on the House Homeland Security Committee. Thanks so much for joining me to talk about the Mueller hearing and also, of course, that ruling against the president's asylum rules. Thanks so much for joining us here on One America News today.
Sure.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.